Welcome to Excel Beyond Boundaries. This is episode 3 with Emily Irwin called The Holistic Hustle. So, Emily is a community nurse and holistic nutritionist who found her love for fitness a little later in life. So, Emily, let's start with what inspired you to begin your fitness journey? And did you have a specific turning point or what initially got you started?
So I kind of had two turning points, I would say, throughout my fitness journey. So I really wasn't someone that was into fitness or interested in fitness really when I was younger. I was kind of that person that, would do everything to get out of going to gym class and signed up for organized sports just to see my friends, not really because I was interested in playing them at all. So it really wasn't on my radar at all. It wasn't until I went to university. I lived with a couple of girls who were much more on top of their health than I was. I really wasn't taking care of my health at all at that point. It was actually kind of a running joke, my eating habits and the state of my health at the time, because my diet largely consisted of instant mashed potatoes and microwave rice, and I wasn't
No,
exercising. I was drinking too much. I was sick all the time. Like, I would catch a cold that would just stick around for months. And so they kind of encouraged me to start going to the gym with them. And I was like, yeah, whatever. I'll give it a try. I'll go. I'll see how it is. And I very quickly fell in love with the routine of it, with, having something every single day that I could go in and accomplish and feel like I was bettering myself with. And so it became something that very quickly was ingrained into my routine, and I just kind of never let it go at that point. I think I kind of had a second turning point about 3 years after that, though, where I really started to focus on health as my main focus of my journey, because I think there was definitely some obstacles when I first got into exercising that kind of derailed my focus and what I was doing. So when I was in high school, I struggled quite a bit with body image and weight, and tried, everything under the sun to try and lose weight, every trick, every diet, every hack. And something I struggled with back then was bulimia. And so I managed to kind of overcome that in high school, and I got over it. It wasn't an issue anymore. And I started going to the gym and I started working out really consistently and started paying a little bit more attention to what I was eating. I lost a little bit of weight, obviously. And so when I started seeing the number on the scale go down, it kind of felt like it flipped a switch in me, and my goal kind of shifted to, let's lose weight. Let's do everything we can to just get as thin as possible. And so the bulimia kind of came back with a vengeance. And so for the next 3 years into this journey, I was going to the gym consistently. Like, fitness was a part of my routine then, but it was very, very oriented to just trying to be as small as I possibly could. And I was really not taking care of my health at the time.
so when you saw the scale going down, it triggered that. Is that
Yeah,
correct?
it very much triggered that mentality, and I was just like, "Oh, okay, like, this is what we're doing now. Like, let's get back into it." And all those kind of bad habits and bad mindset about my weight and my body image just kind of came back full force, and it was something I felt like I didn't have really any control of. And so I was extremely restrictive with my food. I was binging and purging basically on a daily basis. I was doing an hour or two of cardio a day. Like, I was just very much just overdoing it to try and lose weight, and I took a pretty big toll on my health because of that. So over the 2 to 3 years that kind of followed, I was starting to experience kind of the consequences of my actions. I was irritable. I was exhausted. I was getting these really painful periods of bloating. Like, there was just all these things that were kind of popping up, saying like, "Hey, maybe you shouldn't be doing this. Maybe you should be taking a
Definitely.
little bit better care of your health." And I think the point where it really kind of came to a head for me was I started throwing up blood on a pretty regular basis.
No,
Yeah, and I graduated nursing school at this point too, so it's not like I didn't know that this was a possibility, but you always kind of think, it won't happen to me," kind of mentality. And when it happened, it was kind of that reality check, like, you can't keep doing this. Like, that what you were doing is having a really negative impact on your health. You need to do something to fix this. And I think that was kind of the reality check that I needed to do something to fix it, because until then I just really didn't feel like I could tackle it or get out of this habit. Um,
definitely.
so it took months. It wasn't an easy habit to break. It took a lot of time to kind of get out of that mindset. And so I finally overcame that and stopped this binge and purge cycle.
Good.
And at that point, I was kind of like, okay, what do I do? What do I focus on? Because I like having a goal. I like having something that I can focus on and work towards. And so at that point, I was like, okay, if I can't focus on being thin, let's just focus on being healthy and strong and just make that kind of my North Star. And let's just start working towards that. And I think that was kind of the turning point in my fitness journey, was when that became my focus, that became my goal, and then all my actions kind of started working towards that. That really, really shifted how I approached fitness, how I approached my diet, and just how I thought about myself, really.
That is very inspirational. And I love how you said when you shifted your mentality, everything kind of fell into place. That's beautiful. I wanted to ask, if you don't mind sharing, what were the things that helped you get out of the bulimia, and was it more so the new habits or more so that shift in your mindset?
I think I think having those kind of symptoms pop up, it really scared me, and I think it was kind of the thing that allowed me to kind of shift my habits because I think up until that point it wasn't really something I was willing to do or felt like I was able to.
I
So
see.
I think that kind of shift in mindset was a big help. And I will say too, my fiance kind of knew what was going on at the time and was unbelievably supportive. So
Good.
it was definitely a big help in getting me through this whole process.
Good. And that makes a huge difference having the social support, loved ones supporting you. So that's beautiful. Good. Wow, that's a powerful journey. That's so then would you say that the turning point after you realized that it wasn't sustainable and you had that wake up call and then you shifted your mindset, you started enjoying your workouts more and having once you had that goal to work towards, it was easier to be consistent?
Oh my gosh, yeah. You know what? I didn't have any trouble with consistency beforehand. I'm kind of someone that when I set a goal and I want to do it, I'm doing it. There is no questions. So I was very consistent with my workouts beforehand, but it was way more fun afterwards. Largely because I wasn't running on empty and trying not to pass out during my workouts. But I really leaned a lot more into strength training after that point too, because up until then I was just doing like hours of cardio every single day just to try and burn as many calories as humanly possible.
Can't imagine lifting on such, low carbs, just an empty
Yeah,
tank.
yeah, and so that was it, and that was kind of the thing that helped too, is when I really got into strength training more. I was like, okay, let's focus on being strong and focus on what your performance looks like. That really forced me to kind of look at my diet and say, okay, I need to fuel myself correctly if I want to do these things in the gym, because otherwise I'm not going to be able to. And I found that to be really helpful in kind of adding things back into my diet because it was definitely a mental hurdle increasing my calories and things like that after I'd been so restrictive and just had such an unhealthy approach to my diet for so long.
Oh
So
yeah.
I found that really helpful.
Good, good. And I know that that's it's common to like with bikini athletes, bikini competitors in bodybuilding after the competitions, they body dysmorphia or different things because you're so used to weighing yourself and measuring your food, and so I can imagine that shift.
Exactly. Yeah, and I've had people ask me before if I'll ever compete, and I think if I ever would, it would be powerlifting because I don't think I could do bikini shows for that exact reason. I have a feeling it would kind of derail me in the same way.
That makes sense, and it's not for everyone. And if powerlifting is your thing and you like to increase the weight that you're lifting and that's your main focus, performance, that's a beautiful goal. That's amazing. I like that. So then your training style, I know we're going to get to that later, but actually, as much as I want to jump into that, I'm going to ask you, what is your fundamental why, would you say?
My
Your
why,
purpose for training?
I would say to just be as strong and healthy and mobile as I can be for as long as I can be. I think I've said to a lot of people before, I want to be one of those people that lives to be 100 years old, but I want to live to be 100 in really good health. Just I want to be one of those elderly people who is just like still able to run, still able to lift, and they haven't let themselves like they haven't gotten to a place where they're not capable of doing these things because they didn't look after their health.
Definitely. So quality, not quantity.
Exactly.
I like that. Well, actually, quality and quantity, but more
But yeah,
so
but
quality. That makes sense. I like that. What would you say if you could give one piece of advice to someone who's just beginning on their fitness journey? What would you say is the most important thing?
I would say that consistency will get you much farther than perfection. This isn't personally something I struggled with a whole lot because I was actually able to be pretty consistent. But I know when people start on their fitness journey, they kind of have a tendency to, they want to check all the boxes, they want to have a perfect day. And the minute something kind of gets derailed, the whole day is thrown out or the whole plan is kind of scrapped. But there's so much value in just showing up day after day, even if you're not doing all of the things. Don't have it in you to go to the gym and do a full hour workout. Go there and walk on the treadmill for 5 minutes. Like just do a little bit every single day because those small habits will add up.
I love that. And that I love the phrase too. Consistency is better than perfect. Completely agree. Because so many people fall off. If they can't go to the gym, they just stop eating healthy, they just give up completely for a week or two. They fall off, they jump back on. But if you just scale it back, you can maintain. Because even one
Exactly.
workout a week will keep you going.
Yeah, like just that little bit
Yeah.
long term will make such a huge difference.
Yeah. I love that answer. That's awesome. Very powerful advice. Then getting into the mindset and mental health section. So How would you say fitness has impacted your mental health and overall well-being?
Hugely. I It has had such a huge impact on my mental health. The overall shift in not letting my body image determine my self-worth was kind of a huge thing that came out of this whole thing. I feel like it taught me a whole lot of lessons too. Like it taught me a lot about failure. It taught me that that's kind of essential if I want to grow. It's shown me that I'm capable of more than I thought I was capable of. And I think just having that feeling that I'm showing up day after day and I'm doing the things that I said I was going to do. It gives you this confidence that I don't think I ever would have had otherwise.
I like that. This is symbolic of life, and most people, I don't think when they get started, they realize that it's going to teach them life lessons.
Yeah, oh, I definitely didn't expect that. I didn't expect the amount of mental growth that would come out of this whole thing.
Nice. Thank you for that. Do you have any specific fitness philosophy or mantras that you live by, or any mental exercises you do before, jumping into a workout?
I don't know. I think maybe the one thing I kind of tell myself a lot is just you are capable of more than you think. Because I know sometimes I'll get into my head and I don't feel like going to the gym today. I don't feel like doing this. I don't feel like doing that. Or if I'm trying to go for a personal best, it makes me really nervous before the lift and just kind of telling myself, you can do more than you think. You are capable of more than your mind is telling you.
Absolutely. It's interesting. I was in group fitness for a long time, and so many people, they would be consistent with their training, but they would stick with the same weights for, every workout, uh, which is common because they just didn't realize that if they just, went a little heavier, they would adapt to it. And that was our job to push them, of course, and
Yeah,
help them realize they were more capable than they thought that they were. But we have these self-imposed limitations, and often we just stop at our self-imposed limitation. And then once we break that down, it's like it's unbelievable to see the limit.
exactly.
The
I
just
did
keep
the same
breaking.
thing for so long. I would go to the gym and just lift the same weights. And I switched to a different gym a couple years back, and I had a free session with a personal trainer. And so I was talking to her about my workouts, and she asked me, she was like, "Do you increase your weights like week to week or workout around?" I'm like, "No, I've been lifting the same weights for months now." And she's like, "Why?" And I'm like, I don't know. I had never really like pushed myself to increase it. And she was like, "You should. You can do more."
Yeah, no, it's funny that it's there's so many misconceptions, and a lot of people don't change the rep ranges either. They say, same rep range when the body adapts quickest to the rep range. And everyone needs all rep ranges. And then some people never get into lower reps, which has all kinds of benefits, as you know. But that's why it's good to just empower people with education and, share information with others at the gym. And yeah. What are you most proud of along your fitness journey, would you say?
I'd say just the shift in how I approach fitness and food and the change in how I look at myself now and the way that I base my self-worth off of different things other than just my physical appearance. I would say that's probably the biggest change overall over my entire fitness journey that I'm probably the most proud of.
That's huge. That's having that deeper ideal of self-worth and realizing how much you have to offer and how it has nothing to do externally. That's powerful. A lot of people struggle with that too.
Yeah, it was something I kind of felt like I would never get out of years ago. It's a really incredible feeling to kind of look back now and realize how much that's changed.
Would you say you feel more free, kind of like weight off your
Way
shoulders?
more. My gosh, yeah. When I was kind of in the thick of it years ago, it felt like it was just kind of all consuming. It was what I thought about 24 hours a day. And now it's just kind of gone. It's like this huge weight has just been lifted off my shoulders.
Good, good. I love hearing inspirational stories like yours. That's gonna help a lot of people. Seriously. The last question of this section is what is the most important thing someone can do to start a healthier, more authentic life? So if you have any feedback that you would like to touch on that.
I think if somebody is not doing anything really to take care of their health, I would say just start with a really small habit. Go for a walk after your meals, add a glass of water into your diet, add a serving of veggies here and there, like just something simple. I would start with just a really small change like that and keep it up until you can do it consistently and then build from there.
Very practical. Because a lot of people feel overwhelmed, so they just put things off. But starting small, you get that momentum. That's very
Yeah.
powerful. Got a lot of good advice.
Thank you.
Seriously. So the training section, I'm excited about this one. What are you currently training for? Any goals, competitions? I know you said you like to be goal focused.
You know what? I'm not training for anything specifically. Right now, I'm trying to just kind of increase my lifts as much as I can. It's kind of crossed my mind to maybe compete in powerlifting one day, but right now I don't have any plans. So right now, just, trying to get a little better week by week and doing it because I enjoy it.
Good. Are you following any specific programming? Like, are you doing like 5x5 powerlifting routine or anything
So
like that?
I kind of I don't know what to call it. I kind of have my own routine. I've never really followed another structured program. I've kind of put one together myself on an app that I use. So I do kind of like a full body type split. So every day I do like one shoulder exercise, one chest exercise, one lower body kind of thing. Like I find I recover a little bit better doing it that way than dedicating a full day to a body part kind of thing.
Very functional. Good, good. Do you go to low reps, like five reps or like 6 reps or 1 to 3? Any of those lower rep ranges?
Yeah, I do. I'll do some sessions. So some of my things like deadlift and bench, I'll kind of dedicate one session to lower reps and one session to higher reps kind of thing. And then a lot of my other workouts, I'll start my first set on kind of a higher rep range, like 10 to 12, and then I'll increase the weight and kind of
Uh,
lower the rep range from there and kind of keep going up and up until I'm kind of down into the 5 reps or less.
okay, good. For the last like couple sets to get
Yeah,
that stimulation. I see. Do you work out on your own or do you like working out with workout partner?
on my own.
It's funny.
Like I very much like working out on my own. Actually, I kind of get in my zone. I like doing my thing. I know because even sometimes my fiance will come to the gym with me, and I'm like, you do your own thing. I'm gonna go.
It's
I'm locked in. I'm
interesting, yeah.
doing me.
I love to ask because everyone's so different and some people, want that accountability or that social time or just that support. And then other people, like I'm the same way. I prefer just getting in that zone and just going all out.
Yeah,
Of course, it's nice every once in a while to have something social or work out with my girlfriend, but I typically like to get in my zone and she likes to get in her zone too. So I found it's kind of like 50-50. So it's always
yeah,
interesting to ask. Is your desired training style is more so powerlifting, but functional, full body, you'd say?
yeah. I'd say that.
I
That's pretty
see.
accurate.
Focusing on more so like bench, squat, deadlifts, or just getting stronger at every lift.
Stronger in general. I'd say those kind of big compound lifts are definitely more of a focus, but stronger overall.
Okay, good. Yeah, very functional. For go-to songs on your playlist, I clicked on that link and I saw you have a gym
Did you?
playlist.
I
And so
do.
I used one of those songs in your the post for Instagram. So I checked out some of those songs, but what's your absolute go-to? If you chose one song, you're going into a heavy deadlift or a heavy set, what's your go-to song?
My go-to, I would say, would be anything by Hollywood Undead. I think the songs Undead or Hear Me Now would probably be my two picks if I was gonna like go for a really heavy lift. But that band's kind of always been my like go-to hype up band when I'm working out.
Hollywood Undead. That's like I know this band. That's like the double bass,
Yeah.
like a powerful beat, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I see. That's cool. Any pre-workout rituals or lucky charms? Some people have like a little walk that they do, or like a little warm up, extra additional warm up thing they do, or like slap on the back before a heavy lift.
I don't think I do, honestly. I think watching some of the videos I take back, I think every time I kind of set up for a lot of my lifts, I kind of have like a little shimmy I do to just kind of get into place. But otherwise, I don't really have like any sort of ritual beforehand.
Okay, fair enough. It's kind of funny how everyone has like their own style of, if you're unracking a barbell for a squat. Some people have like a little, same two
Everybody's got
step
their
or
own
three
thing.
step. Yeah, it's funny to see. If you could work out, it's kind of random, but if you could work out with any celebrity, athlete, pretty much anyone, who would that be? I know you like to work out on your own, but if you had to choose
If
someone.
if I could choose anybody, I don't know if you've listened to the podcast Mind Pump, but if I could work out with the guys from that podcast, that would be my choice, just because I think I would get so much valuable insight from them working out
I've
with
never
them.
heard of that. Mind pump.
Yeah, would recommend.
I'm gonna check that out. Huh, I learned something else. I'm gonna check that out. If you could do one exercise for the rest of your life, in other words, favorite exercise. It could be,
Deadlift for sure.
oh wow, you jump right to it.
Yeah, no
Okay.
question. Deadlift's my favorite.
Conventional or sumo?
Conventional.
Ah, okay. Yeah, because sumo is not really like It's deadlifting, but less range of motion. I feel like conventional is much more challenging.
You know what? I actually, because I started out doing conventional and I do conventional most of the time. I tried doing sumo for a short period this year just to kind of test it out. I found it harder.
It takes getting used to.
It does. It must just be because I don't do it very often, but I tried it and I was like, "Ooh, this is a lot more challenging than I was expecting."
Oh yeah, no, it feels so awkward, and the range of motion, the it's a different lift as well. How it's
It
kind of
is.
more legs are more vertical. It definitely takes getting used to.
Yeah.
But conventional deadlift, that's like the king of all exercises,
Yeah.
the
That would,
queen of
if
all
I could just do that
exercises.
every day, I'd be fine.
It's a good one. The strangest piece of fitness advice you've ever received.
I don't know if I've received a lot of strange fitness advice. I would say maybe inaccurate. One I've received a lot would be don't lift heavy because you're going to get too bulky. That
Oh, I
seems to
hate
be the
that
common
one.
thing that people like to tell women. It's so not true. Because I remember when I first kind of got into strength training, that kind of fear had crossed my mind too. And because I was a little bit hesitant to gain any weight, and I was like, oh, it's gonna make me bulky. That is not true. That is so not true. It takes so much intentional work to get
Yes,
bulky. Even then, it would take years.
yes. No, 100%. I'm so glad you said that because I have heard that more than any other misconception my entire,
Yes.
fitness journey. And it's I went to a powerlifting gym for a while, and it was mostly women, and so they were lifting, heavier weights, lower rep ranges, and none of them were bulky. They were
No.
just lean, athletic, and they were lifting, deadlifting like 300, 330, 350. And I remember one of them, she had the state record, and she was like 120 pounds. So she had the state record
Yeah.
in her weight class, and she just lean and lifting heavy weights. And I try
Yeah.
to tell people it's neurological. It's mostly your nervous system, and so it's not even the muscle growth range. So
No.
if you're trying to get muscle, you have to train, 8 to 12, and intentionally try to get muscle, and it's not that easy.
It's really not. No, if that kind of bulky look is something you want to achieve, it takes a serious amount of work. It is not something you're going to get accidentally.
I'm so glad you said that. It's good to share that information. If you could create your own signature workout, what would it be called?
Maybe name it after the thing that I feel like I get the most from this. I would call it the empowerment protocol.
Hmm. Empowerment protocol. And that would be more so the full body, the way you train.
I think so, yeah. Mainly full body, kind of focused on those main compound lifts.
Very functional. I like that. Do you have any favorite way to reward yourself after like a big fitness milestone?
New gym clothes.
Uh, okay.
No, I haven't.
And he just pretty much started from scratch and just completely started on his own and scaled it. Yeah, definitely look it up. It's a cool, inspirational story.
Interesting. I'll look into it.
For diet, do you have any specific, getting into the diet section, any specific diets that you follow, or more so just general healthy?
General healthy eating, I aim for about 150 to 170 grams of protein per day. Otherwise, I'm
Okay.
pretty flexible. I am kind of trying to put on a little bit more muscle right now, so I'm like 5-ish months into a bulking phase, but no specific diet, just kind of slowly increasing my calories week to week and making sure I'm getting enough protein.
Nice, nice. Personally, I feel like that's best because your body tells you what you're craving. If you're not hungry, you don't have to eat as much. If you're hungry, you eat more. I feel like the body lets you know.
It tells you, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, I've never been one to really track everything. I understand for, a bodybuilding competition or something like that, but for an athlete in general, I agree. Intuitive.
Yeah.
Any special recipes?
Special recipes. Ooh, I would
Like
say my favorite thing to make is homemade crunch wraps.
Taco Bell crunch wraps.
Yeah, yeah. Like
I'm
Taco
gonna
Bell.
ask.
They're
That
so
sounds
good.
amazing.
So we get ground beef, taco mix, and refried beans and salsa, spinach, onions. Cook it all together in a pot, and then in a really big like burrito-sized wrap, cheese, that bean and ground beef mix, chipotle mayo, and then we get these kind of crispy like jalapeno flavored tortilla shells. Put it on. tiny wrap the whole thing together and air fry it.
Oh, that sounds so good.
But
I'm
no,
gonna talk to my girlfriend. We're making that. I'm literally gonna replay this and get write down that recipe. That's cool. So it's got that crunch and the savoriness. Does it taste just like Taco Bell, or would you say better?
I'd say it's better.
Better. Okay, fair enough. Healthier too, I'm sure.
Exactly.
Nice. So going up, that kind of paves the way for my next question. Favorite. I know you eat generally healthy, but do you have a favorite cheat meal,
Favorite cheat
like
meal.
frozen yogurt or ice cream, peanut butter cookies?
I think. Oh, if I had to pick a favorite cheat meal, probably. I don't know if they have the same thing where you live, but you know those frozen yogurt places where you can get the frozen yogurt and add all the toppings.
Oh
That
yeah,
would
we
be
love that. There's one
my
down the street.
go-to. It's so good.
Those are good. I like that. Healthier too. Getting into the lifestyle section. So this is actually the last section. Do you have any favorite daily habits? Which I know sounds like a weird question, but more so like, do you, and this isn't necessarily just fitness related, since it's holistic in nature, like reading, a chapter a day or anything that kind of comes into that wellness category?
Yeah, so I have a few. Every morning for the last couple of years, as soon as I wake up, I take a cold shower, which I love. I have grown to really love doing that. It's definitely harder to do in the winter, but I find waking myself up that way, you feel amazing afterwards. Like your mood, your energy, everything is just so much better going into the day, and I am immediately just like I'm ready to tackle the day once I get out of that. After I do that, I usually will journal first thing in the morning. I find that's kind of a really nice way to kind of start the day on a good note. Just reflect on things. I have this app which gives you kind of these prompts about gratitude and reflecting on certain things, and talking about what your mindset is for the day and goals you have. And I really like kind of starting my day on that note. I think the other habit that I kind of do every day that I find really beneficial is just making sure I'm drinking enough water. So I've really made a goal the last few years to make sure I'm drinking about a gallon of water a day. And I found that that's made a really big impact on how I feel overall.
Nice, the hydration side. Going back to the cold shower, I know there's immense benefit. That's one thing that in cold plunges, I've never gotten into. Do you
It's a
really
hard
feel
sell.
that's my weakness is cold water. My girlfriend will make fun of me if if there's a cold pool or cold water, I hate it. Do you feel a lot different, significantly different?
Significantly. I find
Really?
I feel way more ready to just tackle the day. And the thing that I like
Interesting.
too, because I think I heard this on a podcast somewhere that they were talking about the benefits that you get from deliberate cold exposure. And the amount of time that you need to get the benefits for, I think it's like an 8-hour period afterwards, is only about 20 seconds. So that made me feel a lot better. So I was like, I only need to be in there for 20 seconds. I don't need to torture myself for several minutes. That's usually all I'll do, especially if I'm really not psyched to get into it. I'll
Interesting.
just get in, grin and bear it, and count to 20 and get out.
That is rough, especially living in Canada. I can imagine, taking a cold shower and then starting your day in negative 10 degrees.
Yeah, the
Is,
Canada winter makes it really
ooh,
hard to do this in the morning.
I would look forward to that hot shower before stepping out. So that's intense. That's definitely dedication. I respect that. What habits have you built that support both your fitness and your lifestyle goals? This kind of leads off the last question. So if you have anything to add in, otherwise, those habits are good.
I think maybe the only other thing that I've kind of made more of an effort to focus on in the last year or so, I'd say, would be stretching and mobility. I definitely neglected that a whole lot in years prior because anytime I was short for time, that was always the thing that got scrapped from my workout. And I learned my lesson. I think it was in May of this year, I dislocated my shoulder while I was at the gym. And yeah, I was doing an overhead press and kind of like right at the top lost stability, and it yeah, so that was definitely kind of the wake up call I needed to take my mobility and my stretching a lot more seriously. And so that has
Did
become
it did it like pop, like you have to get it popped back in, or did it kind of pop back in on its own?
it went back. So when it came out, I kind of thought I was gonna pass out. So I went into the bathroom and just kind of like leaned over with my head between my knees for a couple seconds. And when I went to sit back up, it popped back in.
Oh, that's crazy, man. I hear that's extremely painful.
It is. I would not recommend it.
Dang, crazy. You're lucky though you didn't tear, your rotator cuff or any additional injuries.
Yeah, overall it worked out really, really well. There wasn't any like subsequent injuries from it. I was able to, I worked with a trainer for a little while afterwards who was a huge, huge help. And I've been able to more or less get back to where I was beforehand.
Good, good. I've never had that. I remember one time I was dumbbell chest pressing, and I got someone that was like the worst spotter in the world. I appreciate their help, but they were pushing my wrist forward instead of up, and I remember thinking like this isn't good. And I remember something, my shoulder kind of popped, and I dropped it, but I don't think it completely came out. But it was just I have these little bumps on my shoulders, and I don't. A friend who's a doctor asked me if I ever had a dislocation because you supposedly get separated shoulders. Like
Yeah.
did you happen to get like a bump after that?
I don't have anything that I've noticed, although I crack way more than I used to now.
Well, at least you had a full recovery though. That's all that matters. Are you a morning workout person or
Oh, morning workout for sure. I do.
morning
I'm
club?
lucky enough to have a bit of flexibility with my job. Like I can kind of plan my day a little bit. So I do have the flexibility to kind of move my gym time around. So sometimes I'll go in the afternoons, but I find it a lot harder to do it then. I definitely prefer to go in the morning.
I agree. I don't know how people do evening workouts. It's tough after a long day.
It's hard.
Do you have any weird fitness habit that others may find surprising?
Weird fitness habits.
Or dietary or, wellness category?
Ooh, I don't know if I do.
Nothing out of the ordinary? Huh. I mean,
Trying to.
I'm sure you'll, not that everyone has something, but I'm sure something will pop in your head probably after the interview. While you're thinking about that one, what does your ideal fitness adventure or challenge look like? Like climbing a mountain, triathlon, like the functional side of your training style.
Something that I think would be really fun to do as a fitness challenge would be like some sort of really, really long hike, like doing a super long trail or going up a mountain kind of thing. I really enjoy hiking in my free time, so I think that'd be a really fun kind of challenge to take on.
Definitely.
Otherwise, something kind of in the powerlifting field I think would be a fun challenge for me eventually.
Yeah, or what about strongman? There's a
Oh, maybe.
similar to powerlifting, but more dynamic, and I feel like you'd enjoy that. If you like heavy lifting, I feel like you'd like strongman competitions.
Yeah, that might be something I'd be interested in.
Huh, all right. I actually don't have any more questions, but you did amazing, and I appreciate you coming on. Is there anything you would want to share to the listeners that you feel inspired to share? Any final feedback?
I think thank you for you giving me a chance to kind of share. I think everything that I had in mind, but I think if you're just starting on your fitness journey, like just trust yourself. Like trust yourself to just do a little bit every single day. You're capable of so much more than you think, and those small wins every single day will stack up.
I love that. Very powerful. And thank you for everything. Seriously. That was a very inspirational story. I appreciate you sharing your entire fitness journey, with the bulimia and all of that. A lot of people are going to be inspired by that. So I appreciate that.
Thank you. I hope so. I don't talk about it openly enough, and I think hopefully people will derive some value from that because I think there's definitely a lot of people that are probably in a similar boat.
Oh, yes. No, absolutely. And that transparency means a lot. Do you have any specific links? I have your Instagram and I'll share that, of course. Anywhere else, a website or anywhere else you want to share?
I think anything that I would have links to is in the bio on my Instagram.
Okay. I'll put that in the bottom as well. Awesome. Well, thank you, Emily. I appreciate it. And have a great rest of your evening.
Thank you. Thanks so much for having me on.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Talk to you soon.